Habsburgs, but we have to get each other's benefits and make a compromise with them. And that was the start of that prosperity and wealth, what you see reflecting on this city's architecture. So he had an idea to make an avenue like the Radialstrasse, and he had an idea how to get the finance, the investments, to just convince to invest. And that's why when he died, the whole avenue got named after him. So that's the way we call the avenue Andrássy, avenue after Count Gyula Andrássy. Now, we got back, to the city center point, and on your right side, you will see again the Hungarian State Opera House. So you can tell this is where the posh designer brands are selling their goodies. This is where the top hair salons and, stylists and the top lawyers and the top everybody, has got their cabinets. There are some of these palaces which got converted to 5-star hotels. Like the opera is on your right side, but look at the building on the left. That was communist times nationalized of the former insurance company headquarters, which the communism ran the ballet institute inside. How can you run a ballet institute if there is no stage for performing? And then they sold the building later to a hotel group, and that has been opened up just last summer, and that has got perfect location and perfect business to stand. And the whole length of the avenue has got the first electrical subway of the continent, the Millennium Subway, and that gets us to be back by the St. Stephen's Basilica's point in a minute. Now, when you're looking to the right side, you see the metro stop, the little underground stop, and then you look up to the right and you see the dome of St. Stephen's Basilica. So that's a very large Roman Catholic cathedral. And look down the street to the right, there is a Ferris wheel. So where the Ferris wheel is, this is Elizabeth Square. And we keep going straight until you see Hotel Astoria. And then we turn right. Okay, so that's the Ferris wheel, and that's one of the nicest little, touristical center. So your drop-off point will be in that area. Behind the Ferris wheel, the next square already was where the Intercontinental Hotel is by the waterfront. That we still drive a bit further. And the place where we drive along is what we call the Little Ring Road, the Little Boulevard, and this has been the place where until 200 years ago the medieval city wall used to stand. So now it's only a border of the city Pest, but otherwise it used district number 5 to number 7's border, but otherwise this is a city center. A church on the right side has meant not to put a bell tower on the roof. It's an evangelist communities church. And not to put a bell tower on the roof means that they wanted to remember there was a time when it was only a privilege for Catholic communities to have a bell tower. That was a time when it was only Catholic communities who could build churches in royal towns. So when it was built for the first time, it stood outside of the walls. Now it's the 5% of the people who are evangelists, Lutheran in community. And this is their center. They've got kindergarten, elementary school, high school, seminarium, university, choir, travels around the world because they sing so very beautifully. And they still never bothered about making the bell tower. Behind us there was St. Stephen's Basilica. It was built also outside of the former city walls because it's new. 1854. They have had the decision, to start thinking how they are going to make it in 1906 when they finished the St. Stephen's Basilica. It's relatively young. And further along, Also outside of the former city wall, we've got the synagogue building and we've got our Calvinist communities place as well. And this is the little ring road where the city wall site used to be in the medieval times. And these buildings on the right side with all the flower beds, with all the lampshades, with all the playgrounds and things. This is the courtyards of Budapest City Hall. And when it gets to the summertime, in the courtyard of the City Hall, they run the outdoor movies, you know, they make little concerts, a little bit of cool summer nights programs, and they do little exhibition points as well about the city's life and city's history. So the next little intersection, we're gonna be able to look to the left side, and that's gonna be like a small square opening up behind this row of residential buildings. And where that small square opens up, there used to be, until the 1850s, a factory. It was outside of the city walls, so there has been factories and manufacturers out there. What was a factory about? Tobacco. You know, cigars, tobacco, whatever tobacco products was made. And that was operated by a Jewish, you know, group of entrepreneurs. So when there was a city's development started, they donated that plot of land for the Jewish community's synagogue's construction. That's why our synagogue is in a tobacco street. So look on your left side, and I think you've never seen a synagogue of that size in your life, I can promise that. It was a kind of a gesture for the liberal, Neolog, Hungarian inhabiting Jewish communities to make a wonderful building for this developing city. So they never needed such a size of a synagogue for the religious acts. Come on, 3,000-seater interior. It's large. But they wanted to have a pipe organ, make Franz Liszt, you know, to play for them. They wanted to have their friends, you know, to come over for communities, events. And they wanted to have a fancy and nice enough place for prayers of their communities as well. So this way, between 1854 to 1859, Budapest liberal Neolog Jewish community has made it the largest synagogue building of Europe. And today it's the second largest one in the world, after the one in New York. So that's our great synagogue building. We still have got services, and it acts like a museum, and it has got, unfortunately, a Holocaust memorial park, because as we were in center part of Europe, we got the Nazis, you know, to come in. They were invading us. The royal palace became their Nazi headquarters, and they did the slaughtering down of our Jewish people with their Holocaust, the worst out of countries. In Second World War, there has been 400,000 Hungarian Jews deported to concentration camps. So when you visit Auschwitz, Birkenau, the very biggest number of people who got executed in the gas chamber came from Hungary too. And where the synagogue building is, that was the biggest ghetto of Budapest formed, and they have had more than 80,000 of the innocent people locked up there, where there was only 5,000 apartments around. So when the Soviets liberated us in 1945, in January, there has been 70,000 people survived out of 80,000 in the ghetto. So that's why the back of the synagogue building has got graves, you know, mass graves, you know, and Holocaust memorial points. And every single year, the 16th of April is our Holocaust Memorial Day. We do the March for the Life, And we have placed many other monuments about the Holocaust in the city. And one of the very most moving one is the shoes by the river. We also have got. Another beautiful avenue parallel with the Andrássy, parallel with the Champs-Élysées, and this was the most developing first part with shopping malls, with the rental apartments and with saving banks, around. And after 40 years of communism, there's 5-star hotels in all of these buildings, more or less. So look at the one on your right side coming up, and I know it's very hard to look up to the roof level, but try to look up to the second floor, third floor, to the corner building on the right. See the porcelain statues leaning out. All these nice wrought iron decorations, Moorish design. 250,000 hand-painted tiles outside. That was a saving bank, and now it's a hotel. The one on the left side was a rental property, luxurious apartments rented by the investor group, 5-star hotel. Look to your right, shopping street. So in your free time, this is where you can shop until you drop. That's a pedestrian quarter. And there's this Elizabeth Bridge, what we are approaching, and now we go for the Buddha scenery. So the church on the right is the inner city parish church, the oldest one on the Pest side, and the only place where there are Roman ruins is under the ground in that park. There's like glass, and in the glass there are some Roman ruins at this point of the city. And there is Buddha in front of you. You could tell the Slovakian delegation came into the city via this bridge, so that's why they placed out the 2 flags, one for Hungary, one for Slovakia. And we're gonna continue with a nice scenic drive along the river to the right side from here. But look left, you see how much longer the city lasts. We have got 3 more bridges further south, and the hill on the left side is called Gellért Hill, highest point of the downtown, highest point of the inner city. And the bottom of the hill on the left has got a 400 years old Turkish Ottoman baths. And as we are turning off from the Elizabeth Bridge, you're gonna look up and left, and you're gonna see a waterfall. And right above the waterfall, there is a statue of Bishop Gellért. He has been one of the earliest martyrs of Christianity. In 1014, he got executed in a terrible way. He got rolled down from the top of that hill in a barrel with nails inside of it. And after he died a martyr's death, he got canonized, and the hill received its name after him, Gellért Hill. Let's try to go to the right side, because if they allow us to drive, that would be the nicest way. If not, then let's rather come back this way. To the right, please. Driving in front of the Royal Palaces Castle here, the Castle District, and all of the venues what you see to the right and to the left has been built as secondary building for the royal family. This building on the right side, you see the power station. That's why it has got a chimney, to pump up the hot water for the rooms of the royal family. But now we use it all for conferences. Look on your left, this used to be the garrisons, the bodyguards, place to be. And they had their own balconies, staircases to guard the entries to the royal garden. And look on your left, you can see the entry of the royal garden. But do you know how old these entries are? 2014. Because this was all knocked down during the Second World War. The royal palace, which is up above, above the upper castle walls, the Royal Palace was chosen to become a Nazi Gestapo headquarters. So everything which was in the neighborhood of the Royal Palace was destroyed. The palace was completely robbed. And it was 1962 to 1968 when the communist government decided that they rebuild something to make the city's image with the Royal Palace. But what they have built for the Royal Palace, I put like an East German made Trabant next to a Porsche. Okay, so we had the Habsburg Porsche and we had a Communist National Gallery rebuilt. And it was 2010 when we had this democratic conservative government on, and since that time in every 4 years they got re-elected and they focus more and more of these historical buildings to preserve, remodel, renew. And it's not just to go for showing. Can you imagine how much money it's brought through these conferences and congresses to give it out to? It's not only your national pride, but it's your money, you know, which gets back through it. Look left, told you, we will see the cable car. Can you see that to the left? 0 kilometer stone and the cable car, the funicular. So if you like this, you see the bridge, your drop-off point will be on the other side of the bridge. You walk across the bridge, take the funicular up and down, and then you could pick out that you have been on the Buddha Hill, on the castle here for the view. Right above the tunnel, the smaller white palace is where the Slovakian delegation is. It's the prime minister's and president's offices. And the royal palace itself with the green dome is today a big museum unit, what we call the National Gallery. So that's Hungary's National Gallery. And the library, the Széchenyi Library as well. Now we head back to the waterfront, and what you see from the river, from the waterfront, is one of our UNESCO listed World Heritage Sites scenery. So you look back, you see the chain bridge, and that's the bridge which was built according to your engineers and your architects' plan, and looks like the Marlow Bridge or like the Hammersmith Bridge, and that was our first ever completed Danube Bridge in Budapest, finished by 1848. Now, we love your method of politics. We admire your Westminster system. So that's why we have completed a parliament building which has got a similar location and a similar exterior to yours. And this is it here on your right side. This is the Hungarian parliament building. 1885 was when we started building it up, and it was 1904 when we completed it, and we ended up to have the second largest parliament building of Europe completed here in Budapest. Okay, so we have got this point, you know, which can be enjoyed for a 5 minutes of a photo break in case if anybody would like to. Okay, but before you get off the coach, please, you see we are having 2 lines of trams.